Hello! This is the Extraordinary Man because my opinion is just that interesting. Welcome, children! Today we are going to talk about Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, first off, regardless of what you think about these movies, whether you think they're the best films ever or whether you think they're complete garbage, one thing I think we can all agree on is the fact that John Williams delivers in every way, shape, and form in every one of these prequels. Whether it be the love theme from Episode 2, the Duel of the Fates from Episode 1, or the epic battle theme from Episode 3, all of these are epic and fantastic and are all on par with his work in the original trilogy. And for the most part, all of these pieces do a better job of expressing the feelings of these characters and the character of the plot more than the plot and characters themselves do. Now, I have a lot of issues with this movie, but they really boil down to two things. The main one revolves around it's two deep-seated issues. The first one being, how do I explain it? After hacking through dozens of droids, Qui-Gon decides that they should stow away on a Trade Federation ship so that they can warn the Naboo. Now, if you've seen these ships, which I'm assuming you have because these are huge movies, there is no room for anything other than a droid to fit on these ships, especially a fleshy human. Aside from that, what happens if they would have gotten caught? There's no one to back them up. I'm assuming maybe they could have hacked through a dozen more droids, but maybe not. Furthermore, how do they even know these ships are going to Naboo? Since the Jedi have arrived on this Trade Federation battleship, they have talked to no human character. Heck, they've talked to no character since they got here. How they figured this out escapes me. I'm assuming the Force told them, but that might be a stretch in logic. Another example has to do with them actually getting to the Naboo Palace. The Jedi mind tricked their way into the leader of the Gungans, giving them a speeder so they can go through the planet's core. Now, when they say the planet's core, I'm assuming they mean the center of the planet. Why the Trade Federation didn't just land outside the city escapes me too. This gives our heroes ample time to go and save the day. Evil is stupid. Two other quick examples, is the battle between the two Jedi and Darth Maul. While initially they fight Darth Maul in order to allow Padme and the other guards to get away, after 2 minutes of fighting, they're really fighting for nothing aside from spite. And lastly, in the Naboo Palace, when Palpatine is talking to Queen Ubi and the rest of her guys, after communications with them get disrupted, excuse me, after communications get disrupted, one of her advisors, I would assume, he's in like every single film, he says what is probably the dumbest line in the movie. A communication disruption can mean only one thing: an invasion. Well, I guess so, or it could just mean Palpatine hung up on you. Or it could mean that Palpatine is using dial-up and someone got online. I don't know. The point I'm trying to get with all this is, in these movies, the script serves the scene. The script tags along instead of the script driving the movie. Because for reasons like the filmmakers need to show us some new amazing location, they need to show some ad for some awesome toy, or, well, gosh darn it, these two characters just have to meet. Speaking of that, I do want to digress into something. I do share a certain level of understanding towards Lucas and his team who made this movie. These people had a monumental task on their hands. They had to sync up this story with the original trilogy, which they didn't do when you take into account all the plot holes of like Obi-Wan being trained by Yoda. They had to please the fanboys, which is near impossible to do. And they had to create a solid good movie, which is what they messed up on the most. If they would have simply dumbed down the unneeded elements and given these people some character, these would have turned out vastly different. The other main issue this movie suffers from is The characters. There are none. Think about them. Try describing Qui-Gon Jinn without using words like Jedi or how he looks. Now describe Han Solo. See, there's a big difference. You know there's an issue when your weird racial stereotypes have more character than the rest of the cast. Watto. Watto is conniving, wisecracking, rude, but he actually has a scene where he treats Anakin with kindness. I think this is fascinating. Also, Jar Jar. For the record, I don't hate Jar Jar. Sure, he's annoying. C-3PO is annoying. The, Ewoks, they were annoying. But those movies are still the greatest movies ever made. Jar Jar is a pansy. He's obnoxious, and Qui-Gon calls him out on this. It's not like these people are oblivious to Jar Jar's stupidity. However, a character I don't mind not having any personality is Darth Maul. I always thought of Darth Maul as he could be more of a entity, like a force of nature, kind of like some martial arts goon in a martial arts movie, or one of the big guys in Indiana Jones fights in all of the Indiana Jones movies, something like that. Now, what doesn't help this acting, what doesn't help the characters at all, is the abysmal acting in this movie. To me, the strongest part, the best example of this is when Padme is trying to beg the Gungans to help them. She says in the basic monotone voice, "Please, you must help us." "No, I'm begging you, help us." If I was Boss Nass, I wouldn't have sided with them. While these aren't terrible movies, I mean, they move along at a really good pace. The effects look really, really good, especially when you consider how old it is. Something's always happening, save for the weird politics and the pod races, it takes too long. These are not Star Wars movies. Star Wars was an original, hip, adventure story filled with lovable characters and an epic tried and true story of good versus evil. The new trilogy is a wannabe space, political, action drama comedy, and the only thing it actually gets right is the space part. George Lucas once stated that an effect for the sake of an effect is boring. At first you need a good story to attach it to. If only he had stuck to that, we would have had a vastly different movie. This is the Extraordinary Rayman signing off. I will see you all again next time.